lit, y'all. So, just coming off a long weekend, a lot of times it's easy to get way off track on a long weekend. You eat a little bit too much, drink a little too much, get off track in terms of your workouts. Then you figure, hey, I'll wait and get started again on Monday. Then Monday comes into next Monday, comes into 3 Mondays, comes into 6 Mondays, comes into 10 years. What the hell happened, right? So, a lot of people wonder, how do I get back on track? How do I stop the slide, as it were? Well, my grandpa always used to say, if you find yourself in a hole, just first thing is you stop digging. Stop getting into all the bad habits that you're doing right away, right? Just, you're one meal and one workout away from getting back on track. You have to remember that. No matter how long it's been, how far you're going, how long you've been off track, you're only one meal away, you're only one workout away. Now, that's kind of how you stop digging your hole, but again, a lot of times that's easier said than done, because you're starting to play with your emotions on that one, right? You're instead of being disciplined, you're relying on motivation. Your motivation is down because you're off track and you're on that cycle, you're on that spiral downwards. You don't want to get out of that spiral. So Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, is actually an amazing book. One of the things that I took from it was a visualization technique, and it's not kind of, foo-foo, hippy-dippy, patchouli smelling, let's just manifest crap from the universe nonsense. It's stopping and thinking deeply about what it is that you're doing. So, first of all, ground yourself in your why. What's your purpose? What it is that you're doing? What's your reason for doing it? Not just losing weight, not just getting stronger, not just building more mobility, not just rehabbing an ankle or a knee, and not diminish all those things, because all of those things are super important, but your deeper why, the purpose behind it, your driving force behind it. What's your why? For me, it's my family, right? I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good husband. I want to set a good example for them, and I want to be able to provide for them and be around for them for a long, long time. So my why, my drive, that's what it's based on. It's not based on, just because I want to look bigger or I want to look stronger. I do want those things, absolutely, and especially with my 22-year-old nipping on my heels, I want to make sure that I'm on track with all of that stuff. But you think about your deeper why, think about your purpose and why it is, what it is that it's doing, and why is it driving you, right? And then, before you make the mistake and before you get into that bad habit, before you do those things that you don't want to do, stop to think about the repercussions, start to think about the consequences of it, right? But deeply think about it. Think about what it is that you're doing, how it's taking you away from your goals, how it's taking you away from the example that you want to set, how it's taking you further and further and further from living out the actions that need in order for you to be present and be effective at achieving your why, right? Or living in service of your why. Then think about those negative consequences and how it's going to affect those people who rely on you and count on you. How it's going to set a bad example for them, or how you're not going to be able to fully be there mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, consciously, whatever have you, right? And stop and really get into that and feel that and let that sit with it for a little bit, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to imagine that at that particular point, when you've sat in that regret, when you've sat in that pain, when you've sat in that pool of negative consequences that you set for yourself by doing these actions that you regret, imagine right at that moment, God comes in and says, hey, I'm going to take you back to the starting point, and I'm going to let you go back to that point before you made that fateful decision, before you made that fuck up, before you screwed things up. I'm going to take you back to that point, and I'm going to let you relive that whole thing. Now, when you're at that point where you're going to relive it, Are you going to make that same stupid choice? Are you going to do those same stupid things? Are you going to do those same negative things that produced all that bad consequences and all that regret? Now, if you've, again, gone back in terms of the service of your why, what it is that you're doing, the bigger picture, then if that is actually your why and what's driving you, then no, you're not going to make those same stupid mistakes. So you're going to use your emotion to overcome your emotion, and then you're going to get yourself back into a habit, back into the swing of things, where you're disciplined, then you can go ahead and take over. So we want to be able to control our emotions, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have them. We're not going to feel them. We're human beings. We're going to have them, right? We're created with them. We have them. You have to understand them. You're not going to be a robot. You're not going to be, Mr. Spock. You're not going to be a computer. You're not going to be ChatGPT and do all this emotionless thing. You understand you have emotions, and emotions are incredibly, incredibly strong. But you have to use your will, you have to use your desire, you have to use your reason, you have to use your logic, and you have to sometimes even, like I said, game your emotions to overcome your emotions. So basically that's what you're going to do. That's how you're going to get out of your cycle. We used to, a slide stopper, right? A skid stopper when your baseball team's in a slump, lost a bunch of games, then you have your starter come in, who's the big dog, who's going to shut everybody down, shut the other team down, get you back on that winning track, right? So you're going to use that technique as your skid stopper, as your slide stopper. You're going to stop that, use that, again, game your emotions to overcome your emotions, so that, again, you can get back on top of them, use that motivation, then use your discipline to overcome all that. So be sharp, be focused, be confident, and stay steady and stay strong.